New tax year resolution 8. This is more a reminder, a don't forget kind of post it, and that is the power of deeds of variation. If at some point in the tax year, one of your clients inherits some money and says, oh, this is just adding to my estate planning challenges, I've already got enough, then that's the time to have the discussion about the potential use of a deed of variation. Broadly speaking, it's covered really well in TechLink. Broadly speaking, you can effectively go back into a deceased will or intestacy and change the terms so that the assets that were passing to you skip you and pass on to the next generation or generations without touching the sides, so to speak. So you can rewrite the deceased will, all the conditions and that you need to satisfy to make that work tax effectively are covered well within TechLink. But the great thing about this is you could even retain some access to the assets that you're saying pass on to the next generation, because for inheritance tax purposes, that passing on is not treated as having been made by you, is treated as having been made by the deceased person because their will is rewritten. That means that you could be a beneficiary under a trust that assets pass into by virtue of your giving up of your interest under the will. That's a really important, powerful, potentially very attractive use of a deed of variation. So the point here is, in this resolution, is if a death happens during the year and your client inherits some money which they were thinking about making gifts anyway, or they don't need any further assets, then there is a really effective way to ensure that those assets pass on, and also ensure to the next generation, and also ensure that your client could retain access if they want to. Of course, all the details are included in the TechLink bulletin and library documents on this subject. Really important point, though, is you need to make that decision and make that on transfer within 2 years of the death.